Hi there, Carmen here. Now, I was watching the news the other day, and someone said that somebody was passing the buck in regards to their responsibility. And I thought to myself, ooh, that's a good one. Where does pass the buck come from? Because I know that pass the buck means that you're giving responsibility that you really don't want to somebody else. But why do they say pass the buck? And I figured it out. It's from the Wild West. Now that's in the United States, in the states that are west of the Mississippi River. And the Wild West was around 1850 to 1895-ish. And that was a time of gunslingers and poker games. And this all starts with poker games. Now, to be fair in a poker game, you're supposed to trade dealing the cards, so each player has a chance to be the dealer. And so what they would do is they would go around the table, and they would say, that guy there, he's going to deal first, and then that guy there is going to deal next, and that guy there deal, and then they deal, and then they deal. And they go around the table until the game is finished. But then they would lose track of who was dealing next, so they started using a marker. And that way they could know straight away that, oh, who was that last one that dealt? Oh, that was them? Okay, we'll pass it on to the next guy. Then there were no arguments about who was going to be dealing. Now, the thing was, though, is that if you were the dealer, it was also the best time to try to cheat. And these guys, they didn't like it very much when anybody cheated. That's where all those gunslinger shootout scenes happen in the movies. So to keep the dealer from cheating, they reminded them that they could actually get hurt by using a knife as a marker. And the kind of knife that most of these guys carried around was called a buckhorn knife. And it was called a buckhorn knife because the handle was made out of antlers. So they had a blade that was actually made out of metal, and then the handle part there was actually made from an antler or a buck horn. So, yeah. And so that kind of a knife was put in front of the dealer to remind them that they should be playing fair. And then when their turn was over and their responsibility of dealing was done, they'd pass the buck to the next player. Now, you could opt not to do any dealing at all, and you could ultimately just pass the buck straight to the next guy. Because sometimes you just didn't want to be called a dirty dealer. That's where that comes from too, where you had a responsibility to be fair and then you weren't. Dirty dealer. It's also where the buck stops here comes from. So if somebody wants to take full responsibility for something, then they say the buck stops here because they've got the marker. Cool, huh? Now you know.